Well folks, the International Criminal Court done dropped a bombshell. Arrest warrants for Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and former Defense Minister Yoav Gallant. Talk about your international incidents, this is huge, unprecedented even. It's the first time the ICC has gone after the big dogs of a Western ally. We're talking accusations of war crimes, folks, crimes against humanity. The ICC is alleging that these guys are responsible for some seriously messed up stuff during the 2023 to 2024 Gaza conflict. And let me tell you, the fallout from this is gonna be messy. Think geopolitical earthquake, legal tsunami, the whole shebang. Buckle up, Buttercup, because we're diving headfirst into the wild world of international law and political intrigue. We'll break down the charges, the reactions, the implications, and everything in between. Now, the Gaza Strip has been a tinderbox for decades. It's a densely populated area controlled by Hamas, and it's been locked in a bitter conflict with Israel for years. The 2023 to 2024 flare-up, the one that's got the ICC's attention, was particularly nasty. Thousands of civilians caught in the crossfire, accusations of disproportionate force, the whole tragic playbook. The ICC's focus is on Netanyahu and Gallant's roles in all of this. They're alleging that these two were calling the shots when some seriously messed up things happened. Think indiscriminate attacks on civilian areas, restrictions on humanitarian aid, the kind of stuff that makes your stomach churn. The ICC, for those who don't know, is kind of like the International Hall Monitor of Justice, except with way less wedgies and a lot more indictments. They're tasked with investigating and prosecuting individuals accused of the most serious crimes like genocide, war crimes, and crimes against humanity. Not exactly the kind of club you want to be a part of. So what exactly are Netanyahu and Gallant accused of? Well, the ICC is throwing the book at them, folks. War crimes, crimes against humanity, you name it. But one of the most serious accusations is that they use starvation as a weapon of war. Let that sink in for a minute. The ICC claims that Netanyahu and Gallant deliberately restricted humanitarian aid to Gaza during the conflict. Food, water, medicine, you know, the essentials that people need to survive. The ICC says they choked off those supplies, essentially using the basic needs of the civilian population as a bargaining chip. Now, I'm no legal eagle, but intentionally starving people, that strikes me as pretty darn evil. It's a blatant violation of international law, and the ICC is not messing around. They've got reams of evidence, eyewitness accounts, and expert testimony to back up their claims. Unsurprisingly, Israel is spitting fire over these arrest warrants. Netanyahu called the ICC's decision outrageous and anti-Semitic, claiming it's all a politically motivated witch hunt. He's basically accusing the ICC of having it out for Israel, ignoring the whole alleged war crimes thing. Gallant, never one to be outdone in the outrage department, chimed in with his own fiery denials. He's claiming he was just doing his job, defending Israel from terrorists. You know, the classic, we're the victims here defense. The Israeli government is backing them up, of course. They're refusing to cooperate with the ICC, calling the court biased and illegitimate. They're basically saying, you can't touch us, we don't recognize your authority, which in the world of international law is kind of like your toddler yelling, you're not the boss of me. It might make you feel better in the moment, but it's not going to fly in the long run, especially when you've got the weight of the international community breathing down your neck. So how's the rest of the world reacting to this whole ICC arrest warrant drama? Well, it's a mixed bag, as you might expect. Some countries are standing firmly with the ICC while others are tiptoeing around the issue like it's a landmine. The US, always a reliable friend to Israel, condemned the ICC's decision. President Biden called it unfair and unjustified, echoing Israel's claims of bias. No surprise there. America's always got Israel's back, no matter what. On the other side of the spectrum, you've got countries like the UK and the Netherlands, who actually said they'd arrest Netanyahu and Gallant if they stepped foot on their soil. They're basically saying, we take international law seriously, and if the ICC says you're wanted, well, we're obligated to act. Then you've got the vast middle ground with countries expressing concern and urging dialogue. They're like the Switzerland of international diplomacy, trying to stay neutral and avoid taking sides. Section 6. Espionage and Intimidation. Did Israel spy on the ICC? Hold on to your hats, folks, because this story takes a turn for the even more bonkers. We're diving into a tale that feels like it's straight out of a spy thriller. Remember how Israel was accusing the ICC of being biased and politically motivated? They claimed the court was unfairly targeting them. Well, it turns out they might have taken matters into their own hands to, shall we say, influence the court's decisions. This isn't just a simple complaint, it's a full-blown covert operation. Multiple reports have surfaced alleging that Israel has been running a covert espionage operation against the ICC for years. This isn't just a recent development, it's been going on for quite some time. We're talking surveillance, wiretapping, hacking, the whole spy versus spy playbook. It's like something out of a James Bond movie, but with real-world consequences. The alleged goal? To dig up dirt on ICC officials, discredit the court, and derail any investigations that might make Israel look bad. It's a strategy straight from the espionage handbook. The ICC's chief prosecutor, Karim Khan, even came forward and said he's received death threats. Coincidence? I think not. These threats add a chilling layer to the whole saga. It seems like someone really doesn't want the ICC poking its nose into Israel's business. The lengths to which they might have gone are staggering. If these espionage allegations are true, it's a whole other level of messed up. It undermines the very foundation of international justice. It's like trying to rig a trial by spying on the jury and threatening the judge. The integrity of the court is at stake here, not exactly the actions of a country that claims to be committed to the rule of law. This situation raises serious questions about the lengths some will go to protect their interests. Section 7. Legal quagmire. Can Netanyahu be brought to justice? So, with all these accusations flying around, the big question is, can Netanyahu and Gallant actually be brought to justice? It's a question that has been on the minds of many, both in Israel and around the world. Well, that's where things get complicated, like, really complicated. The legal and political landscape is a tangled web, making it difficult to navigate. See, the ICC doesn't have its own police force. They lack the means to enforce their rulings directly. They can't just send a SWAT team to Tel Aviv and drag Netanyahu out of his office in handcuffs, though that would make for amazing television. The reality is far less dramatic. They rely on member states to arrest and extradite suspects. This means cooperation is key. And guess what? Israel isn't a member of the ICC. This complicates matters even further. They've refused to sign up. Probably because they saw this whole arrest warrant thing coming a mile away. It's a strategic move on their part. So, unless Netanyahu decides to take a spontaneous vacation to the UK or the Netherlands, it's unlikely he'll be seeing the inside of an ICC courtroom anytime soon. His travel plans are likely very calculated. Of course, the ICC could issue an international arrest warrant, which would put pressure on member states, which means any country that's a member of the court would be obligated to apprehend Netanyahu if he sets foot on their soil. This adds another layer of complexity, but that's a big if, and it would likely lead to a whole new level of diplomatic chaos. The international community would be watching closely, and the repercussions could be significant. Section 8. Global repercussions. Shifting sands in international relations. This whole ICC situation isn't just a legal headache for Netanyahu, it's a geopolitical earthquake with the potential to shake up international relations as we know it. The ramifications are far-reaching and could alter the dynamics between nations. It's like someone just tossed a live grenade into a room full of diplomats, and everyone's scrambling for cover. The uncertainty and tension are palpable, and no one knows where the next move will come from. For starters, it's going to be fascinating to see how Israel's allies react. Their responses could redefine alliances and reshape the geopolitical landscape. Will they continue to stand by their friend, even in the face of these serious accusations? Or will they reconsider their positions, weighing the risks and benefits of their alliances? Or will they start to distance themselves, worried about the potential fallout from being associated with a country accused of war crimes? The stakes are incredibly high, and the decisions made now will have long-term consequences. Then there's the impact on the ICC itself. This case could either bolster its credibility or further erode its standing in the international community. The court has always been a bit of a toothless tiger, criticized for its inability to hold powerful countries accountable. This situation could be a turning point for better or worse. If they can't even bring a former Israeli prime minister to justice, what does that say about their credibility and effectiveness? The world will be watching closely. And let's not forget about the Palestinians. Their quest for justice has been long and arduous. For years they've been calling for justice and accountability for the crimes they say Israel has committed against them. This moment is a significant milestone in their struggle. The ICC's decision, even if it doesn't lead to actual prosecutions, is a symbolic victory for them. It validates their claims and gives them a sense of hope. It shows that someone, somewhere, is listening to their pleas. This acknowledgement alone can be a powerful catalyst for change. Section 9, a watershed moment for international justice. So, what's the takeaway from this whole ICC versus Netanyahu saga? Well, it's still too early to say for sure what the long-term consequences will be. But one thing's for certain, this is a watershed moment for international justice. It's a stark reminder that no one, not even the leaders of powerful nations, is above the law. It's a test of the international community's commitment to holding perpetrators of war crimes accountable regardless of their political affiliations. Will it lead to meaningful change? Will it deter future atrocities? Only time will tell. But one thing's for sure, the world is watching, and the decisions made in the coming weeks and months will have far-reaching consequences for years to come.